Details about voting days. First is it will give you the list of voting days are available here in case 1, 2, 3. What is the setup of each voting days? It's online. What this is the something called file universal ID system generated number, and then it also gives you the file name which is being used for disk group and what is the disk group its story. Same way, if you want to determine the OCR file location, you can go to etc oracle/ocr.log. Okay, this is the file available there. In this case, you will find that Oracle configure location is data. This is plus signs means for data group. So it is ASM data group, this group which is called data, and local only false means there is no local copy available. It's all stored on the shared location. Okay, so in this case it will come as false. So if you want to check it, we can check it while we will not able to start and stop clusterware because the installation is going on, but definitely we can fire the query commands. Okay, once you have set the environment, you can see whether CRS-CTL is working or not. That means command not found means the environment variable is not set. Okay. Okay. See there, as soon as you find there are so many options given to you. What are the commands you can use? Enable, disable. You can configure a service. You can stop any resource. You can stop it. You can relocate it. You can replace the configuration. You can find the status of that. You can add or delete the services. You can modify. You can set parameters. You can set parameter, get the parameter. You can check. You can set debugs, query, pin, unpin a particular model. So let's look at the first one, CRL, CTL, status. Sorry. Check CRS. Okay, I can also fire this command sitting here st node 2. Okay, CRS-CTL, but it cannot do it. I'll have to give the full path, but we'll see later. Okay, CRTL check status, it gives me true. I can say CRS-CTL check cluster. Okay, goes and check me all that thing. Okay, now CRL-CTL query. What does it say? You can check whether query what is or EMPA is if it is integer parent. We don't have intelligent parent, so we'll say what is. Okay, if you look at this, I'll make slightly bigger. Okay, what is. Then if you say cat etc or a tab, Okay, one more thing, if you notice though, okay, there's already backup created on that whenever you install. So you can look at that original file. Whenever it is changed, it has taken the backup. Okay, if you cat, okay, the OLR file is the local registry. It's another copy. We'll talk about that also down the line. ORIG original, if you have anything. Currently not there because there's no zip. Next time you modify, you can have original. Okay. So grab the voting desk. If you want to check the utility, okay, where the voting desk issues, all the voting desk issues are logged into CSD, OCSD log. Before that we go, let me show you where are the log directory structure. As soon as you say from grid user Oracle home, okay, you can go to CD log. Okay, you will see the CRS log node name. So we go to the node name wherever the host is there. See, in this you have all the directory structure for your log. If you open the alert log, which is the nothing but like our background in database, if you look at that, all the error mounting, anything which has been done is been recorded here. It's like your database alert log file. Okay, it talks about all the activities here, there, what it is trying to do. Any synchronization it does, any error it happens, all this will be recorded here. Even startup and shutdown is also recorded in here. So this is your one master log file which contains all the activity happening on the cluster, and specific error are recorded into individual location where you need to go. So like you want to check CSD, check there are log files on this. If you want to grab -I voting start, so it will talk about you which are the file, which are the delay. If there is any delay, see, this is again you will have to also keep on noting many times. If there is also delay happening in pinging and all that, then in that case, some of the time even your node reboot and all that happen because of delay of or the system is heavily loaded and the ping request to your voting disk is getting failed. Okay, or even though it's not literally the disk is not, it's not that system is down, but there is heavy load on the system and the request for the ping is taking more time than the expected time. In that case also sometimes it evacate nodes, which is called false evacuation. Okay, so that's one location. We'll talk about that. The other utility which is very important utility is cluster verification utility and Aura check. They are the two utilities which helps you in check the integrity of the node. Actually, from my side, if you ask me best practice, as soon as you come in the morning, you can run this utility, or it should be part of your activities what you do in the or part of your, if you have L1 monitoring team, you should give them this privilege and they should every time they come and check this if you have a cluster installation. There's not much impact. People ask me whether there will be impact on this, on that. No, there is not much impact while verification is going on. But it will alert you for all the things. Okay. Now, if you look at the first command, compare OCR, it's the component name is OCR, on -n is the node, on the all the nodes and verbose. So let's see if we can run current quickly this command. Okay. Sorry guys. Compare OCR minus n on a older node minus verbose. Okay. Okay, one problem you will find it every time. This check, okay, when you are running through grid user, you will get this error because it cannot do a logical, the physical level check because you have to run the script through root, but it will check the basic thing and run back. If you want this warning to be avoided, you have to run the script through root user. Okay, let's see if we can do we get the same error if you run through root. Okay,
mics and disabled.
why? Okay, okay, sorry, it will ask you to run as ORA check, OCR check. See, if you run the OCR check through root, you will not get a warning, whereas logical corruption check succeeded. Whereas if same thing if you run through OCR check, it will say logical corrupt by due to non-privileged users. Okay, this gives you the version, the space is occupied, it has been allocated, how much is used, how much is available, what is the ID, what is the device file name. So we are storing in data group. If we are using the raw device, then the raw device name will appear. Okay, just make sure that we have only configure on one device. Otherwise, to configure on multiple devices, then the name appears here. Okay. So this is the utility. Okay. Now we talked about this. In release R2, voting days is backed up, data is backed up automatically in OCR as part of. Just give me a second, sir.
భారతి ఈ శురువాత ఫుడ్ దిగాం మనం చూడకు సార్ నేను బాగా నువ్వు దిగా దిగాల్సింది బాగా తప్పకుండా
sorry, is back. As I discussed previously also in R2, release 11G R2, you don't need to use anything called DD to back up your voting days. The voting days data is automatically backed up as part of OCR or any configuration changes. So now if you lose also voting days, you can automatically restore voting days by using OCR backup. To add or delete, remove any voting days from you can use any of this command which has been given. Okay, CRSCTL delete whatever we are deleting from cluster services. So CSS voting days, vote days, and the part to the voting days. You can add as well as delete using this command. Okay, if you want to add or delete, you have given command to that. If you want to migrate from one path to another path, you can give to the new path and deleter. If you want to add to voting days, the command is that instead of the path, you will have, if it's already available in voting days, you will use the replace command. You cannot use to add or delete. Add or delete you only use if you are not using non-ASM storage. If you are already using ASM storage, then you are going to say that CRSCTL replace vote this with the ASM group. To migrate vote from non-device to that, there is an option you can replace where you can migrate from a non-ASM device to ASM device. In that case, you will give vote disk, ASM group, and then the path to the non-ASM disk. Both are possible to migrate from each other. Okay, so no more DD backup on voting disks. No more asking your. It is already part of OCR, and it is very easy to add and delete the voting disk now. Okay, any questions on this? Yes. Can I go ahead? Okay. Can you? Okay. Okay. I made the. Okay. So if you go to the next, all this we'll do in the lab also. We'll have an exercise for that. Now, since OCR is very important for us because it is also going to record the changes if anything happens on voting days, and we can build voting days using OCR. So OCR has to be backed up properly because it becomes a very key important file for us. So as per the default, system automatically backs up the OCR. You don't need to manually back up. And please make sure that only one node out of the nodes what you have done, only one node does the backup. And that if you want to determine the location of the node, you can say OCR config show backup auto. That is nothing but it will show you which is the node which is node responsible for auto backup, as well as what are the last few auto backup already taken. So if you look at this ORCA show config auto, it will give you the list of files which are backed up. Now what are the frequency of the backup of automatic? Every 4 hours CRS keep the last 3 copies of the backup every 4 hours. Please understand this 4 hours is the time the CRS up, not the system time. From the time the CRS is up, the 4 hours. Suppose you started your cluster services at 10 a.m. The next automatic backup will happen at 2 a.m. If the system is up at 4 o'clock, suppose your system goes down at 1:30 and you restart after 10 minutes, The next backup will not happen at 2 o'clock. Automatic backup will not happen at 2 o'clock. But it will from 1:30 when you started, from there the 4 hours. Okay. Out of the, at the end of the day, it keeps the two last copies of the backup. At the end of every week, it keeps the last two copies of the backup. You will not able to see lot of backup copies in our environment because our virtual environment should be active. Whenever you log out, this server become inactive, and the counter is, and whenever you break down CRS, the counter is reset to 0. Okay. So if you want to see whether which is our node who has the backup, so if we fire this command, you will know everything. Okay. So we have an exercise on this we'll be doing now after the class, after this config. Any question on this? Okay. Okay. So the next, if you go down, you have a path. Automatic backup location is tomorrow. If suppose it is being shared, you want to keep the backup instead of on a particular node, you want to move it to a shared file system so that it is automatically backed up whenever you are backupping, or you can put it wherever you have the database backup and regular backup are scheduled. In that case, you can change that location. You can just type the command ocrc config backup location path to the wherever you are. The same path will be used for both automatic and manual backup. So whether you are taking automatic backup or once you change the backup location, simply get it. It's recommended that files include in the routine backup because they are the today if you look at there is the two OCR and voting disk is hard of CRS. Now you can build voting disk using OCR. So OCR becomes ultimate crucial. So it has to be, if CRS has been stopped on all nodes, schedule of backup is suspended. On the restart, the backup is not immediately taken up. The backup timer is reset. We discuss about this. Okay. Now, since OCR is very important file for us, we would not like to have one single OCR. We would like to have mirror copy of a OCR also there. There are the commands which we are going to look at is adding, replacing and repairing the OCR files. The first one is if I want to add another OCR file to that. So in this case I am trying to add OCR config minus add option and plus data2 means I am adding one, asking him to keep one more OCR file into data2 this group. I can even provide a device where the cluster location I have given it. If you want to replace the current OCR, suppose you have done an upgrade and you are trying to change registers of application, and because of registering some of the application, the system is crashing. So you don't want to undo the registration. One is you can delete, or if the registration is configured corrupted, I can replace the old backup of OCR. In that case, it will not have the new register operation. OCR config replace the device, whatever you want, and provide the replacement copy. Okay. You can also repair the Oracle clusterware OCR. Okay. The caution here is you cannot perform the repair option while the clusterware is running. Okay. You cannot perform this operation on a node on which the Oracle clusterware running because already OCR file will be running. So in that case, you are going to repair and adding a new node. So on this node 3, if you are firing the command, you have made sure that you have stopped the clusterware software on that. To stop the clusterware, it is CRS CTL stop CRS. Okay, using root. You can even delete OCR config OCR location. If you suppose you want to have your more than 2, 3, 1, you want to delete for time being and then add different, you can do. The option is OCR config minus delete the location from where you want to do it. Okay, you please do not perform OCR removal until there is a one active location always, otherwise you will land into problem. Okay, ideally it should not allow you to delete the last copy, but there is no such restriction. Okay, any questions till now? Okay, migrating OCR location to it. Yes, sorry. Yeah, yes. Go ahead, Wilfred. Yeah, Wilfred. Uh, Go ahead, Wilfred.
Can you able to hear me?
Yeah, now we are able to.
Can I able to shut down a cluster from another node?
Yeah, definitely. Cluster from a other node.
Yeah.
Okay, I think there is an option called N or that. Normally you have to, it is advisable to fire from that node only. Root privilege. I don't think you can shut down the total CRS from other node. Because CRS CTL start and stop the clusterware on that node only.
Okay. So there is no option whatever nodes in the cluster.
Let me check out. I think there should be option. Good question. I have never tried that. give me some time. I will come back to you with the answer.
Okay. One more question. Yeah, sure. Do you have any scenario where you can delete one voting disk and can recover?
Yeah, you can do. We have in this practical, there is adding of voting days and all that is there, but we can try out there, no issues. I think the option can, what we can do on the last day, what I am planning to do on the last day, I'll tell you, which is not normally part of the lab exercise and all that. I want my environment to be up, will practically disable one of the net card or kill one of the process. We'll have 3 windows open, seeing the log files, how it goes down. On real time, we'll try to disable the voting disk on one node and see what are the errors it is writing in log files and how it is reacting. Same time, we can try to delete one of the voting disks. See, practically I have tried deleting voting disk, the last voting disk. Actually, the command gets fired, but everything gets hung. Okay.
So OCR file deletion and recovery.
We can do it, no problem. There is a on the exercise. I think there is already exercise to migrate and all that. Let me just check. Was there? Backing of OCR is there. Okay, no. Okay. There is an export import option. You can use that. Okay. But we can do that. No issues. There, I'll just come back. In this, there is a delete of files and adding of files. I'll just read out for you if you want to just. What are the exercises which are covered in this chapters? Starting, stopping Oracle clusterware, adding and removing Oracle configuration files. It asks you to add OCR file and remove OCR file. Okay. And it is also checking and adding a mirror file and then removing that mirror file is also there. Performing a backup is there, and looking at restore or backup is not there. Yes, it's only talking about backup, not the restore of backup. Okay, but we can do it. There's no big deal. We can always try out. Okay. If you want to start, sir,
Yeah, thank you.
I have the document on that.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
No problem. Okay. Let's go to the next topic, which is what is the migrating OCR from the ASM. See, if you remember, always people says that you can have only one version of CRS in one server. No. Today 11G R2 onwards, you can install, while 10G CRS is also there on the same system. But at a time, only one CRS version can be running. Okay. So currently what happens if you want to install, like your 10G CRS is already installed on a node, you can go and install 11G CRS on a new node, on the same node, on a different home. Okay, once you are comfortable, you can active the new, and the old one you can disable. So if you want to see which CRL version it's going to be active, if you type this query CRS CTL query CRS active version, it will give you the version which is active. If you look at that, if you want to add any extra OCR location, you just say OCR config minus add the DB location where the data group in the ASM. Suppose if you want to use raw devices, okay, or the shared cluster file system for storing your OCR file, you can say /dev whatever the device path given by your privilege. Okay, you can also delete if suppose if you are migrating from ASM. This topic is more from ASM. Suppose you are already using raw devices for OCR. Here /dev/raw1 and 2 is being used for OCR. Once you have added one more location for your thing, that is nothing but ASMD group. One, it is available, you can delete the raw devices directly, because no more down the line there is no more support for the raw devices. Only in case if it is a previous version that. Okay. The other way, migrating OCR from ASM to other shared storage devices. This shared storage device is nothing but your cluster stack. Ideally, you require around at least 300 to 500 MB of space for each raw devices on the shared cluster to move your OCR file. The procedure is same. You are going to add first the raw devices on OCR config, add whatever the shared cluster raw devices, and then you are going to delete the ASF option. Okay, so it's the same process followed for migration. Many people have asked me question whether should my OCR should be in ASM or cluster file system or raw device. Definitely when it was in raw devices, uh, there was always the assumption that performance is going to be good if it is raw devices. But OCR file is not being checked very heavily. Yes, if you have old installation and you have used raw devices for voting this, it is always better. But now the problem which you have with voting this down the line is no more raw devices are support, and with raw device only way to back up the voting disk was DD command. Okay, and it was a big Hercules task to restore a voting disk using that. Okay. Now the second option when we talk about performing manual OCR backup. Suppose I know I am going to add a service to my cluster services, which we talked about, like Apache services or user defined services. It is always better to back up OCR config, OCR file before adding, any services or any changes on the CRI. Even if you are trying to upgrade or apply patch or anything, the most important, you should back up your OCR files. So once you say OCR config hyphen manual backup, it will take the backup, and the backup will be stored on the backup location which we have set up in the previous one. We want to see which are the manual backup we have taken. If you can type the command OCR config show backup manual. If you don't write manual, it will show you all the backup. Now there are also ways to backup other than the physical backup. You have also called as logical backup. So you can say OCR config minus export the path where you want to backup. It's nothing but the export of your registry. And same way, you have an import command to do restore the backup. Here is the configuration path been given exercise if you want to restore the backup. So first, recovering the OCR using physical backup, you are going to do OCR crop config minus show backup. Okay, sorry. You asked me to stop the clusterware on all the servers. This is the option, top cluster or the all the node. Minus all will stop on the all nodes. Yes, but it will stop the cluster, not the CRS. Stop the high availability services, CRS CTL stop on all node. You will have to run the CRL stops CRS on each node, but you can stop the cluster services on all node using minus all option. Yes. Who asked this question? Somebody has asked this question. Wilfred. Yeah. Okay, I think you can stop the clusterware services on all the nodes using all option, but I think CRS you need to stop manually. That's what it has written here. Okay. And then you can write the command OCR config minus restore from where you want to restore the OCR file. So either you can use the DAOCR, or if you have any manual backup, you can use that. Then you say CRS TTL start on all the nodes, which in turn will start the clusterware services also. And then you can compare, check the integrity of the OCR file using the CLV option, cluster utility, CLUFY, compare OCR minus on all the node minus verbose also you can write so that it displays all the output. Okay, any question on this process? Okay. The same thing if you want to use restore using logical backup. Okay, the commands are same, except that instead of restore you are going to use minus import command and the location where you have the dump file. The rest all the status remain same. Okay, so this is the process by way you can restore your OCR file. Okay. Can we take 2 minutes, 5 minutes by break? Okay. Can we have 5 minutes by break?